that's the question.
Well, our marriage.
Yeah, well, we're talking about ourselves,
Yeah.
but in context of ourselves. How is the church beneficial to marriages, including yours? I mean,
Yes.
Especially ours.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Jimmy Hill, how is the church part of your marriage? Like, how has it enriched your marriage?
So Karen and I have been married, 41 years, and most of those years here at Wildwood. And I think probably the greatest benefit to our marriage are the other couples in this church, godly couples that we've come to know and had a chance to interact with and observe and just see how faithful their marriages are and see how they deal with various issues, whether it be struggles, grief. We're older, so of course we know some couples who have lost spouses. But in every case that I can think of here at Wildwood, it's always ultimately an encouragement to us, something that we see modeled for us, and something that just helps us make our marriage stronger and more caring for one another. And we just appreciate Wildwood for doing that. As an elder here, I've unfortunately seen a number of marriages that are struggling, considering divorce, going through divorce, on the backside of divorce. And in my view, although not perfect, I think Wildwood has done a good job of trying to come alongside those people. And again, I've seen that sort of modeled for me, and I've tried to kind of duplicate that where I can and kind of minister in that area when I can. But I think that's a strong area for Wildwood. Yeah, I think the strongest marriages in the church are likewise kind of encouraged. They're encouraged by the preaching, they're encouraged by the teaching, they're encouraged by the fellowship. They're really, particularly the ones that have been here for many years, they're devoted to the fellowship of the church, and they don't always just do marriage things, or they don't always just do older married couple things. I think a lot of them anyway, want to be interacting with younger couples and doing things that only the church really provides, that kind of multi-generational opportunity. And I think that's one of the strong parts for Wildwood. Yes, I think struggling marriages, one of the greatest struggles is one or both spouses wanting to keep the problems secret for any number of reasons. And yet, as I read the Bible, it's pretty clear that what you really need most when you're struggling is to have godly people speak into your situation, people who are going to love you, not judge you, people that have been there before and have been through some of your struggles. And even though it's a divorce situation, let's say, some of the best couples for doing that are couples that have never been divorced. They've been faithful, and they just know what God says about marriage, and they can sort of, speak that into a struggling couple who the last thing they're wanting to do, unfortunately, is do Bible study together or get into God's Word regarding their marriage. They're much more narrowed down into their particular trouble and their particular problem, and they just don't want to share that. Yeah, again, not to get into any specific examples, but I've learned just personally a lot of things to say and a lot of things to not say to couples that are going through struggles, whatever those struggles are. Sometimes those struggles are not divorce, those struggles are with their children or with their grandchildren. I think a subject that comes up often in my relationships with other couples is what do we do about unsaved family members, and how do we pray for them, and how do we ask others to intercede in prayer for them as well. So that comes up a lot. That's sort of a church thing. That's not the kind of thing that you're going to usually find in your social clubs or at your workplace or sometimes even in your own biological family. They're not really talking about how to pray for one another because, like a lot of our families, they're a mixture of believers and kind of non-believers, and they're avoiding those touchy subjects, and a church is a good place to kind of get into that.